All right, equilibrium. Equilibrium comes in two flavors. Actually, 4, 8, depends on how you want to look at it. But first off, when dealing with equilibrium, first off, there's the type of motion. And so we have rotational motion and linear motion, or angular motion and translational motion, or some combination like that. So things moving in a straight line, linear motion, rotational motion, you got some twisting going around. If someone says that an object's in equilibrium, the general language is that it's both rotational equilibrium and linear equilibrium. However, not always what the case is, but that's the language. If you need to specify that's one, not the other, generally you throw in the adjective linear or rotational. But what does equilibrium mean? Equilibrium means that whatever is happening is that basically motion is staying constant. In other words, the velocity is constant. Now that does not mean that the velocity is zero. If it is zero, it could be zero, that's fine. But it doesn't have to be. So if the velocity is constant, that means the acceleration is zero. And that is the hallmark. So if the acceleration is zero, normal, linear, regular old acceleration, if acceleration is zero, that means the total force acting on the object is zero. That's linear equilibrium. If it's in rotational equilibrium, that means that the angular acceleration is zero. So something's spinning at a constant angular speed, or angular velocity. It's not rotating in more than one way. And so constant angular velocity, as well as the total torque acting on the object, is zero. So equilibrium, you should be thinking acceleration is zero, whether it's linear or angular, as well as some of the forces for linear, some of the torques are zero for rotational. Now the other way that you can deal with, besides linear versus rotational, is static versus dynamic. Static equilibrium means that not only are those other conditions met that we just talked about, but the velocity is zero. So static equilibrium, static generally means not moving, or something that's staying in one place. Static equilibrium means that it's not moving and equilibrium. Dynamic equilibrium means that it is moving and in equilibrium. So if you hear the term equilibrium, you should be thinking, all right, static or dynamic, and linear or rotational.